Welcome to the daily summary for the Australian SGP Race 1. Our day started with our 10 a.m. morning briefing where we had a look at the task that was set for the day. There was some challenging weather, which the contest director will talk about later, but our task was heading from Horsham across to Nil, Minyip, and then back to Horsham. Additionally today we had the ABC news crew on site to film our glider launch for the local news. Now I'm going to hand over to our contest director for the summary.
The race started in under fairly low cloud and everyone went together for a short period. After that we saw Sean Fiddler, the American, head out from the main pack, and he pretty much went on track straight across the little desert while the main group went around to the north of the difficult country and then headed towards Nil, where they all joined up again with a couple of stragglers. There were two gliders who didn't compete today. They chose to come back and land. On the second leg, past Nil and heading east towards Minyip, again Sean Fiddler was well ahead, and a couple of gliders, Bill Gawthrop and John Orton, fell behind a little. However, the main group remained together right down this leg to Minyip in pretty good conditions at that time. The biggest problem for this group was when they turned back towards Horsham and discovered that the winds had got up, there was heavy overcast, and they were finding great difficulty finding thermals. As a result, quite a few gliders had very low points in this period, and it was quite difficult for them to get back to Horsham. Quite a few started their engines, but there were a number of successful finishes. Sean Fiddler, who had led for most of the race, landed out about 20 kilometres north of Horsham.
Now let's watch the awards ceremony and an interview with the winner.
I think this is the first time I've ever been involved in presenting prizes on the same evening as the event was run, except for the final night dinner, and that's usually about 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. So pretty amazing to come to an event where at 7 o'clock I can announce the winners. So, it was a pretty difficult day, or at least the last bit was, I do believe, certainly looking at the results. Everyone seemed to have a reasonably good run right up until the very end. So congratulations to those who did make it round. In third place today, we have Bill Gawthrop.
Okay, we're going to put it around.
And you stand on the ground there. Okay?
No, 33.
Oh, third, sorry, over there. That's all right. Apologies. I'll get this right tomorrow.
You get this around your leg.
Excellent, thank you.
And Bill? Right. In second place, Tim Wilson.
Steph, I can't reach you.
And in first place today, Brian DeRue. Just to prove that wing loading isn't everything.
I can't reach, so you have to go there.
I get kisses.
And I'll get Brian to say a few words.
Thanks, Tim. I did joke with Tim before launch today that it was going to be a good LS10 day. In other words, a day where having a slightly lower max wing loading didn't really affect the outcome, but blue, windy and different thermals, that pretty much summed up the day. It's a pretty even pack, I thought. At the last turn point, there's probably about 10 gliders, with about the same energy level within a few K of the last turn. And I think the thing that made the difference, 5 or 6K after the turn, I turned right away from the pack into a climb that in the end wasn't too bad, and it got me up about 1,000 feet and into an area where I had my low point, 960 feet AGL, and a nice little bubble that turned into 3.2 knots. And that petered out after about 1,000 feet, but it enabled me to basically make progress towards the sun and then just dribble on home. Final glide was never convincing, but all in all, I think the GP format is a lot of fun. Great flying in such close proximity to all you guys, and great to knock off a few of the guns as well. So, all in all, a good day.
Okay. It looked like a pretty difficult day, particularly at the beginning and then later. How did you find it?
Look, it was a day very much influenced by the high cloud. When there was sun on the ground, conditions were quite robust. There's some quite good climbs out there. I think my best was 5.4 knots for the day, but under the gloom it was very patchy, and as we saw, there's a few engine starts and land outs just in the last 20 or 30k beneath the gloom. But all in all, I thought it was a very fair task for the conditions.
That's good. And your fellow competitors, you were with other gliders most of the day?
The whole time. Just when you thought you were out in front with maybe 1 or 2 other gliders, you'd stop for a turn and the pack would descend on you. But I would say there was probably at least 10 gliders in a loose pack for pretty much the whole flight. And that disintegrated probably about 5k after the last turn. That was where the last reasonable climbs were, and then everyone pretty much headed off into the gloom with various degrees of success.
Yes, it certainly was quite a long wait for those of us on the ground when you were coming in.
Well, I think approaching the last turn point, my average speed was 100 kph, and by the time I landed, that had dribbled back to 90, so we just lost a lot of time scratching.
Okay. Well, thanks, Brian.
Pleasure.
And congratulations on your
excellent
win today.
Thank you, Tim. Cheers.
That concludes the daily summary for Race 1, and we'll be back tomorrow with more gliding. Finally, thank you to all of our major sponsors for making this possible.